All right, so the YNW Melly team has scored a huge victory. Huge victory. Anybody that's a YNW Melly fan and anybody that's been saying now YNW Melly needs to be free, I think they just got an extra jolt of energy because it looks like they're one step closer to his freedom. Let's get into all this. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. All right. So, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A South Florida judge removed the lead prosecutor in the double murder retrial of rapper YNW Melly on Thursday of last week after defense attorneys claimed that prosecutors didn't reveal that the lead detective, which is Mark Moretti, in the case had been previously accused of being willing to lie as he gathered evidence. Now, let's clear this up before we even go any further, right? First of all, they filed many motions. One of the motions that they did file was for the lead prosecutor to be removed from the case. Another motion they filed was for the lead detective to be removed from the case. They also filed a motion for the entire Broward County prosecution department to be removed from the case altogether, right? And there are many more motions that were filed. Honestly, I think that YNW Melly's lawyers, like they said from the beginning, they're going to be going at this case from a different angle this time. They'll be fighting it in a different way. And I can clearly see that one of the ways that they plan on fighting it is to file so many motions to pick apart the case, to have everybody more focused on all these motions than to focus on the actual case itself and whatever so-called evidence the prosecution has against Melly that might prove that their client is guilty. In other words, smoke screen, smoke screen, smoke screen, hazy, hazy, hazy until we get to that part. Now, Broward Circuit Court Judge John Murphy, who is the presiding judge over the YNW Melly case, he granted the defense's motion to rescue prosecutor Kristine Bradley in an abundance of caution. Now, what this means, so the judge didn't find, he did not. Let's keep it clear. The judge did not find that the lead prosecutor, Kristine Bradley's integrity had been compromised. He did not find. She is still good. She is still intact. She did nothing wrong. However, he agreed that she should not serve as a prosecutor on this case if the defense was planning to call her as a witness regarding the credibility of one of the investigators. One of the investigators would be the lead prosecutor in this case, right? Which would be Mark Moretti, which is one of the motions that the defense, YNW Melly's team, had filed to have him removed, accuse him of telling lies in the process of gathering evidence, right? So if they call Kristine Bradley, who is the lead prosecutor, she's going to go from prosecuting the case to being on the stand giving a testimony against the lead detective in her own case she is prosecuting. The judge said that makes no sense. So I know I've seen it all weekend. Some people are saying, yeah, she did wrong and she got caught and that's why she is off the case. That is not true. The judge did not find anything wrong. Her credibility is still intact, but the judge is not taking any chances. The judge says just the mere fact that they would even think about calling her to the stand, the mere possibility that she could be called to the stand, she shouldn't be the one that's leading in this case. Now, jury selection was set to begin today, the 16th of October, Monday, and no replacement for Bradley was announced just yet. So now we have a case, a double murder case sitting there with no prosecutor picked out to spearhead this case. I know a lot of people like myself were like, so from the first trial, there was this black lady that was with Kristine Bradley all along. Was that just her assistant, or is she actually also an attorney that could prosecute this case? She could jump in and take the lead. We don't know. And for the fact that they didn't immediately mention somebody, it kind of tells you that they were caught off guard. They were not expecting for the lead prosecutor to be removed from the case. It is also my bet now, right, that the lead detective in the case, because YNW Melly's team wants Mark Moretti gone as well. Now, here's the thing. YNW Melly's attorneys are accusing him, and they have Boutros, who is also on their side, backing their story, but the judge still has not so far found anything wrong with the lead detective yet. So the lead prosecutor has been removed, but the lead detective is still on the case. Now, worst comes to worst, like I said from last week, I said the worst thing that could happen was the lead prosecutor be removed from the case, and boom, I was traveling over the weekend, man. I went to like 5 different states in 2 days, through 5 different states in 2 days, so, and back home. So I missed a lot. I was keeping up, but I just couldn't do any videos, any voiceovers, put some information together. So when I said that the worst that could happen was for her to be removed from the case, it happened. It happened. That throws the case into a tailspin, because now whoever takes over this case is going to have to learn the case, learn all the evidence, so that they can present it with confidence when the trial begins and not miss anything, not start over, not skip over anything, which could leave a loophole for YNW Melly's attorneys to either tear it apart or to miss something that could have gotten him convicted. Now, let's remember, the prosecution's duty is to get a conviction. That's their job. Their job is to get justice for YNW Sack Chaser, YNW Juvie, the 2 victims in this, right? Now, last week, attorneys for Melly, whose legal name is Jamel Demons, asked Murphy, the judge presiding over the case, to remove the entire Broward State Attorney's Office from this case and potentially dismiss the entire case together. I've heard that they've filed some 30 motions, which they will be going through. Now, a lot of people are saying, how in the hell are they going to go through so many motions while it's going to take forever for the case to start? Well, this is where a judge and his expertise comes in. The request came after Assistant State Attorney Michelle Boutros. I told somebody before, she is an Assistant State Attorney, Michelle Boutros. People get in your comment section, talk shit all the time and don't know what they're talking about. It helps to read. It helps to be informed, right? I have no intentions of passing along false information. I pass along information that is factual, and if I ever make a mistake and it's pointed out, I'm man enough to walk back on it and say, my apologies, that was the wrong information, this is the right information. While we're at it, let's get 2 things straight. One, Michelle Boutros is an assistant state attorney, and she did turn against her department in order to testify on behalf of YNW Melly's attorneys, which is a blow to the case, period. The other one is, the question was Boutros actually in the room? Now, several different news entities who are known to be trusted news entities reported it as, 1, she was in the room, but she left the room at a certain point. And then 2, that Jamie King, attorney, which is YNW Melly's mother's attorney, was also in that room. So if there was any wrongdoing, that attorney would have picked it up. The question now becomes, when did Michelle Boutros leave the room? I remember Michelle Boutros doing a testimony where she said she walked out, right? So at some point she had walked out. I don't know if stuff took place while she walked out of the room, when she came back into the room, what she saw while she was in the room, what she overheard when she was passing by the room or in an adjacent room. All that is to be worked out in the courts. Not for me and you to work it out on YouTube, because we are not these attorneys. Matter of fact, none of us here are attorneys qualified to argue this case in this manner. All we can do is source information about the case, give our opinion based on that information about the case, and keep it moving forward. Now, back to the story. So the request came after Assistant State Attorney Michelle Boutros, who works for the Broward office, testified that she overheard the lead investigator in the case against Demons, Mark Moretti, ask a Broward County deputy to lie after being present when Moretti executed a search warrant outside of his jurisdiction last October. She was present when he executed the search warrant outside his jurisdiction, but she overheard him saying to lie. Right? When you overheard something, it wasn't done in front of your face. You don't overhear something in front of your face. You overhear something when you're in an adjacent room. You overhear something when you're passing by. You overhear something when you're eavesdropping. You don't overhear something that's done in your presence. But okay, I won't argue with anybody on YouTube. I'll just drop my videos and keep it moving. Right? And then she explained that this is when he had forcibly seized a phone from YNW Melly's mother as part of a witness tampering investigation. We're still getting to the part about how this case is going to be handled with all these different motions. Pay attention. Defense attorney Jamie Benjamin said that information should have been turned over to the defense because that information was favorable to them. They could have used it in the first case, in the first court appearance, to discredit Moretti, the lead detective in this case. That trial we all watched ended July with a hung jury. Prosecutor says that the exchange between Moretti and the deputy was a joke, and they pointed to the fact that her attorney, Demon's mother, Jamie King's attorney, was present when her phone was taken and would have known that the deputy wasn't there if the deputy indeed was not there. This is what has saved them. So the judge pulling the lead prosecutor off the case was not because, and remember, that attorney still has not come forward to say, I wasn't there, I didn't see anything. They said that that attorney was there. Her attorney was there. So if any wrong was done, it would have been done in her presence, and her attorney would have been able to stand here today and say yay or nay. Anyhow, Demon's first murder trial ended with a 9-3 vote for conviction. Pretty close, no cigar. Melly faces a possible death sentence still. It's still on the table. And if convicted of this first-degree murder in the 2018 slaying of his two friends, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas and Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams, their stage names all include YNW because they belong to the same hip-hop group collective, which is the YNW Young New Wave or Young Ninja Wave, or other phrases that include whatever. Okay, prosecutor says that Melly, after a late night recording session, ended up taking out his two friends. When we're talking about how are all these motions going to be handled while this case goes on, so far we have not heard any push forward with the start date for Melly's actual trial. I think that the judge is over it completely. If you watch the judge's body language, he's leaning on his arm, his head is down in his hands, he just looks frustrated as hell, and this is just drawn out and long. However, the judge said, we're not going to change the date to start. We're going to go ahead and start that jury selection on the 16th of October, which is today. And when we start that jury selection today, then we're also going to push ahead with the trial. In the meantime, we will try the case Monday to Thursday, and on Fridays, we will make room and probably dedicate Fridays to dealing with all the motions that have been filed. Motions have been filed on both sides, and they're going to be dealing with that. Plus, the state has many new witnesses. I believe the state has about 10 new witnesses. 7 of them are inmates that are in a correctional facility. So this case is going to be pretty interesting. Which one of those inmates are going to be saying, yep, he told me that he did it. Another one's going to say, yep, I was the one that was helping him to stay in touch with other gang members outside the prison to reach out to some witnesses so they don't come testify at the trial. And you know, if they're testifying for the prosecution, you can't expect it to be anything good for Melly. So it's going to be interesting to see how this case unfolds. That's all the information we have for now, folks, and we'll stay tuned. Today starts jury selection, regardless of all the motions that have been filed. Let's see where this case goes. I just hope that whoever the prosecutor is, the lead prosecutor is that takes this case over, is a bit more aggressive at putting the facts before the jury, and they don't take the long, drawn-out way. I've said this before. It's like when you were a child and you went to church with grandma, but the pastor decided that today is going to be a long ceremony. So he preaches and preaches and preaches, and what happens? Half of the congregation starts to fall asleep, right? You're nodding your head, you're going off. It's kind of like the same thing with a jury. Presenting all that evidence or whatever you have against this person, you need to present it in a manner that is entertaining, in a manner that is captivating, has some kind of charisma. I hate to say it, but we live in a social media world where people are looking for entertainment. You got to be a little bit flashy. If you look at YNW Melly's attorneys, right, they're like loud and boisterous and aggressive and quick with it. The prosecution is going to have to be the same way. They can't go in here talking slow, acting like they don't know what they're doing, reshuffling the papers and going over the same thing 100 times, knowing they have 100 other pieces of stuff to go over as well. It's going to bore the jury. It's going to drag the whole case along for too long. And then before you know it, we'll probably be at another mistrial again. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross that bridge. Well, if another mistrial occurs, will he be given bail this time? Will the state finally throw the case out? Or will they try him for the third time? We don't know. We will be waiting to see. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.